What is up, everybody? This is Notes on the Spectrum with Isaac Berlyn. I'm here joined with Sam Etling from the band The Soul Rise, and let's get started. So first off, Sam is a musician with an interesting story. If I believe at 21, you were diagnosed to be on the ASD or the autism spectrum disorder. And I've learned of Sam through a mutual friend, Sean Thompson, who works for the DDD at the Responders Unite meeting last week, actually. And I was inspired and at awe of Sam and his story. And I was like, I want him on this podcast. And here he is.
Whoa.
So, hi, Sam. How you doing, buddy?
Fantastic. Doing
Awesome.
Great.
So Sam and his band has a song called Spectrum that they shared with us at the Responders Unite meeting, and I fell in love with it. It's heavy rock. There's a little screaming. I love that kind of music. So for any of the viewers, listeners that's not their typical cup of joe, I would ask to have an open mind and listen to the lyrics because they're amazing. So I would like to share the song first, and then we can go over, talk about it, and hear more.
Great. All right.
All right, let's listen to that song now.
Okie dokie. Let me pull it up here. Share with sound, of course. All righty. You ready?
Yep.
Let's do it. fade out. There's just a bunch of screaming that happens for about 20 more seconds. Thank
Oh man, dude, I really like it.
you
Um,
so much.
and sorry, the lyrics. I guess I shouldn't laugh. I guess I should cry. I've never been here before, but I'll be all right. Um, why did you put that in there? What does that mean to you?
So that's kind of a two for a line. Kind of my whole life, without realizing that it was a part of me being on the spectrum. It's like I felt like I would have the wrong emotions to certain things, or the wrong reactions to certain things. Like it like being at funerals, like, and not feeling the right emotion, like the right kind
Mhm.
of sadness and stuff. So it's like, I guess I shouldn't laugh, I guess I should be crying right now, kind of thing. And then the second part of that line, the I've never been here before, but I'll be all right, is about me being diagnosed. It's about like I've never been in this headspace. I've never been here before, but I'm gonna be all right because now I have the tools to deal with the things that I feel, and now I know where that's coming from and how I can tackle it. So
Oh, dude, that's like hardcore positivity right there, man. So I guess we should take a step back and go, tell your story a little bit, how we got here. And yeah, go ahead with that.
all right, so I guess where I was diagnosed being on the spectrum around 2021. Um, it was kind of it was a buildup. Right out of high school, I didn't do much. I kind of just working random jobs. I worked at Pizza Hut for a while. I worked at Staples for a while. Then I was jobless for a while. And my buddy, who's in a band called No Lungs, worked at CARDS, which is the Center for Autism and Related Disorders.
Okay.
Um, so that's kind of where this all started, because I needed a job, and I was like, how do you like it? He's like, I love it. I'm working with kids and they're really cool. And I was like, okay, cool. So I jumped into it. I applied. I got hired pretty quickly. And I was hanging out with kids that were on any end of the spectrum, really. But one of them that I was working with was a 16-year-old boy. Um, he I was with him for about an hour and a half. Um, on the days that I was with him, and I was just kind of there to make sure that he was nice to his mom and that he was doing his homework, because he was on the higher end of the spectrum. So he was really smart. It was mostly just social stuff. And I keep in mind, at that point, I had no idea that I was even,
Mhm.
I didn't even really know what it meant to be on the spectrum. I just kind of knew what, like, the popular kind of knowledge about what autism is. So I was hanging out with this kid, and after a couple weeks, I started being like, man, he reminds me of me a lot when I was 16. So and from that point, I didn't really tackle it yet. I kind of just, like, I had that feeling, and I was like, that's kind of weird, that we have so much in common, and he is supposed to be different, or whatever. And kind of, so I just brushed that off. I ended up moving to Tempe from there, and I got a new job at a place called ACEs, which is the Austin Center for Exceptional Students, where you're doing a similar thing, but instead of working one-on-one with these kids, you're working in a classroom setting.
Okay.
And then so I was in a room with kids that were anywhere between 7 and 18, and ranging across the spectrum. And I was kind of just there, helping out the teacher. And there was two of us, two other people that were doing the same job as me. And a few months into it, the teacher, who had, been in the field for 10 plus years, she was like, hey, have you ever checked to see if you're on the spectrum? And I was like, no.
Hmm. How did that make you feel? Out of curiosity.
We were so close, and it was in a private setting, that I think that she was just kind of looking out for me, and
Mm.
she was like, hey, like, if it's something you want to get checked out, it's completely normal. And my roommates, who both worked there, had expressed the same sentiment, as
Okay.
well. So at that point, I was kind of just like, okay, maybe I should, look into this with my past knowledge about the kid that I was hanging out with, I was
Right.
taking care of, and this combined. So within that year. It definitely was not instantaneous because I, bad at getting my stuff together sometimes. But I
Yeah.
started going to therapy for a bunch of other reasons. And gosh, it was so helpful. But one of the first things that I expressed to my therapist, I asked her like, hey, like, are you able to kind of put me on the track for checking and getting a diagnosis? And so from that point on, we went through that process together, and she helped me out with that a lot. And I, found out. I it it wasn't it wasn't devastating or anything. I really just like I was relieved,
Mm.
because sometimes if you're on the spectrum, you have these things, and you're like, hey, do you guys, it's hard, it's so weird. Like when you don't shower in the morning, you feel like you're gonna die. They're like, no,
Don't have that. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think that. And it's just like things like that, where uh you have these things in your head that you're like, why isn't everybody feeling this way? Why do I feel odd or different? And finding out why was so relieving for me. Not only because just like an explanation, because explanations are the best.
Right.
But not only that, but because like now I have the tools to deal with these things. I can go on these. I can go on. I'm a part of a ton of forums, but just people that talk about their experience, and asking like, hey, do you guys feel this way, and how do you deal with it? And then tons of people are like, hey, I do feel that way, here's how I deal with it.
Yeah, and then you get to learn from them.
Exactly.
Could you share some examples of some stuff you've learned so far?
Yeah. um so I am sort of a compulsive hand washer. You can't tell very well, but my hands are very dry.
Okay.
I if after I eat, I wash my hands 3 to 5 times. It's because I'm also, I think by association, also have OCD.
Mm.
It's kind, they've kind of, they're intertwined.
Okay.
It's sensory, it's all sensory stuff. But I've talked to people online about that, and they're like, here's the best thing. There's soap that's got like moisturizing in it, so that way you're not drying your hands out. Here's some things that you can eat that don't, like you can eat with your hands, and they don't stick on your skin as
Mm,
much,
mhm.
and stuff like that. I've even looked into exposure therapy, which scares the crap out of me. I like I have a box of clean wipes, baby wipes, in my glove box, because when I eat in the car, I have to do something about it.
Yeah.
So just stuff like tips and tricks like that.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. Like that is such a again, it's not something that I think about in my life, but it's people helping people, and
Mhm,
that's the best thing. And if more
absolutely.
people could learn from others, and so they don't have to go through the misery and the mistakes themselves, oh my God, this world would be in a better place. But I'm so happy to hear that like there's that kind of support and camaraderie out there,
Yeah, me
that
too.
again I didn't know about. That's fantastic. Um, so, would you say that your life has improved or
Yes.
not improved? It's okay, okay.
I will say that a lot of that is because I was in therapy
Hmm,
at the same time that I found out. So my therapist was just amazing,
yeah,
helping me deal with that stuff. She's incredible. She was incredible. So that was very helpful.
yeah.
And
I'm going. Well, excuse me. I go through the VA for my medical stuff, and the VA takes five ever to do anything. So I want to start therapy for myself because we've all dealt with trauma and
yeah,
problems, and I'm at like the point in my life now where I feel like I'm comfortable enough where I'm
mhm,
like I need to figure this out.
yeah. I
Um,
think I'm a strong believer that everybody in the world can benefit from some form of therapy when they're ready
absolutely,
for it. I think that
absolutely,
everybody has something going on that they don't like,
yeah,
or something going on in their brain that like maybe they aren't sure of. I think talking to someone, a trained professional, it can do wonders, and it does do wonders,
yeah.
for everybody. So
I was actually talking to a buddy the other night. A short little side story. And his brother or sorry, his brother's best friend, like just randomly out of nowhere killed himself.
Oh
And
gosh.
his brother was talking to him about it. And then that brought up stuff because my buddy's like his best friend growing up killed herself. And so like it brought up a bunch of trauma with him and stuff that he didn't resolve. And immediately I was like, you need to recommend to your brother to go to therapy and you should go to therapy. And like he reacted negatively towards it because there's such just a bad stigma.
Stigma. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't like that because
Yeah.
he went through his experience by himself, and then it's nice that he can relate to his brother, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
And
And
it's
people just aren't equipped for that kind of
yeah.
care. People just aren't equipped for that kind of care. And it's really awful that like we live in a place where like getting help is frowned upon. That's like saying like,
No,
oh, like I broke my leg, but that would be
just walk it
how would I go to
off.
the doctor? Yeah, I'll walk it off. You can't walk off your brain.
Yeah,
You have to like just like our your brain is like it's just this amazing intricate thing that we don't understand. You have to talk to somebody who does, you know.
right. Dude, yeah, and as much as I want to help because like that's the field I want to go into,
Yeah,
and like why I'm going to school, and I am woefully aware that I am incredibly ill-equipped to handle it so far.
it's hard, man.
Yeah, and I want to help and I want to give my opinions, but like that's I'm not ready yet, and
Yeah.
like I could do more harm than good if I try to help without having the education and the know-how. And I
And it's really great that you recognize that because a lot of people don't.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
no, like, and on the unfortunate thing is that we can't force anybody to do anything.
Right.
So you can see your friend in pain, and you can be like, do you can just recommend. All you can do is recommend, and share your experience. That's all you can do. You know.
Yeah. But
Uh,
I wish them both the best. And
mhm.
all right. So back to you though. Um, what is your vision for the future? Like, what are you working towards? Where you want to end up? What are you gonna do?
So really I just want to play music. One of the reasons that I started Sore Eyes, I'd been in a few bands before that, but like the reason I started Sore Eyes, is which is like a really intensely personal project for me, and it always has been, and it pretty much always will be, is to share experience, and people reaching out to me and saying, hey, like I heard that lyric in your song. I didn't know everybody else was feeling like that. It's the most amazing feeling on the planet. Um, like and now that like I have this new experience to share and these new things to talk about. Doing that has been so overwhelmingly just amazing. Just
Yeah.
like people reaching out to me and saying like, hey, like I feel that way, is the coolest thing that they can do, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And like again, what I said at the start and how I feel is like you're an inspiration. And I think sharing your story and getting your story out there for other people, that you know they just feel like something's off or something is like they have a question. And you're like, is do other people feel like this? They don't feel like they can connect or they just different. And um, I think you are a shining example of that. You know, having a diagnosis doesn't hinder you. It's not a disability. It's and you're thriving and you're creative and you sound great. And I love your band. And yeah, dude, I think it's great.
Thank you so much, man. I really
Um,
appreciate that.
so what would you want to tell someone who is thinking about getting tested or is in that mind state that you were at before you did?
I think that the most important thing is to, before you go into that process, like recognize how you are going to feel whatever outcome you get, because being in that mental state is so important. I was in it ready to go, like let's hear it. I was already pretty sure it was going to be the case, you know. I was just like, let's go, let's do it, like let's figure it out so I can move on with my life with the tools and or not,
Mhm, mhm.
and if you feel like you're in the mindset to receive that information, do it. It's helped me so much. Like knowing that you're there, knowing that knowing what to do, and knowing that you have people to talk to, and there's a huge community that you can um, be a part of, is so important. And you can talk to these people, and they will help you. You can talk to me. You
Yeah,
can you can shoot me a message wherever, however, and I will talk to you. I just want everyone who thinks that they might be on the spectrum, to know that it's not gonna define you for one thing, and it's not going to hinder you. You've been living like this. It's not like it's a new thing. Once you
right.
find out, it's not like, oh,
Yeah,
now I'm different. No, it's just now that you have an explanation. Now um, you have more information. You have the tools to fight, and understand. It's not going to change you as a person at all. It's you've been living it with your whole life. You've had it since you were born.
mhm,
It's not. It doesn't make you a different person. It just makes you a stronger person knowing. So yeah.
absolutely. Um, a few more questions and I'll let you go.
All right.
Uh, so, do you bring it up to other people when you meet them? Like, has your diagnosis like affect dating, jobs, or social relationships or anything like that?
So I bring it up with people. I'm not closed off about it at all. I made a post about it on my socials, just to kind of like let all my close friends know. Um, and just in case, and I did, and I had 4 people message me, asking me about the process and what it was like. So so that was awesome. But it hasn't affected my relationships at all. Actually, in fact, I just started dating somebody I was telling you with the birthday today. And she is incredible. She is just the most amazing person on the planet, and she's
Right
right
there.
there, actually.
I love when that works out.
And we when we first met, I think a couple months into the friendship, I told her about it, and she's been nothing but supportive and incredible, and always asking me and checking in with me. I I can't imagine being with anyone else. Like, it's the coolest thing ever. So I but like, to get back on track with the actual question, I don't really talk about it at my jobs.
Mm,
I don't feel the need to, unless, I mean, I deliver paint. That's what I do. I deliver paint for a paint company. Um,
okay,
so
gotcha. That's fine. Yeah, and excuse me. Sorry, I just had a brain fart. Um, all right. So when does the album drop and where can we get it, listen to it?
Oh man. Okay, so it's a big ol' eventually. We're currently waiting for shows to come back. So a couple months into that, whenever that announcement is made and we can go out and play shows safely again, that's
Gotcha.
when the album rollout process is going to begin. I'm thinking about putting out Spectrum.
Mhm.
This is a single because of people been resonating with it recently when I show it to them. That's a big maybe, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
The album is called Cancer and Other Terrible Things. It's 11 songs, and it's a culmination of like 5 years of my life. There's songs that I wrote when I was living with my dad still, on that album, and I think it's the best work I've ever done in my entire life. So
Yeah.
so I hope that people listen to it.
Yeah, and you just shared Spectrum with me, but I'm excited to hear the rest of your album. And also on that note, um, I really want to use your song for the backing track for the social media challenge
Do
that
it.
we're doing. I think that it's the perfect song. Um, and the challenge is going to be spotlighting the processing delay, um, and just I want people to be aware that there are programs out there if they need help, and then we're all just people, and it's people helping people at the end of the day, and that's what I want to have happen. I think your song is perfect for that, um, and yeah, I'm excited that you are okay with that happening. um, yeah, thank you so much for sharing and being on here and being an inspiration and just I love it. I love your story.
Thank you so much,
You're
man.
awesome. And thank you everyone for listening. And we will see you next time.
All right.